Hey, classmates. This is Deanna.
Hey guys, this is Brett, and welcome back to episode 68 of Hard Lessons True Crime Podcast.
Definitely.
68 weeks
Yes.
of fun and adventure.
Not continuously.
Not continuous weeks. 68 episodes, I guess would be a better way to say it.
Yes.
Getting close to 100.
Yeah, we are. Does that mean we're going to get to celebrate if we make it to 100?
What do you
Or
mean if we
when
make
we?
it? There you go.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to have cake, and we're going to have punch, and we're going to have pin the tail on the donkeys, and I don't know.
I don't know either, because I'm like, for the two of us?
Yeah. Hey, you know.
Maybe we'll just go to Brahms and celebrate.
They have this new Sunday there that I've been wanting to try, but I can't tell you the name of it because I can't pronounce it.
Okay.
It's Tres something Loco Cinco de Mayo.
It's like their tres leche.
Something like that. Yeah. I love the Tres Leche cake. Trace. How you say it?
Yeah.
So, Pete, did you have a good week?
I did. I got to drive my car and go to Amarillo to a training and got to be an adult for a day.
And you went to a Sod Poodles game last night.
I did.
That was fun, huh?
Yes, it was.
Would have been more fun if they had won, but
Exactly. Would have been fun, but you know.
good time had ball.
Exactly. I went with my best friend, Veronica, and had a good time.
Hey, Veronica.
Because we can carry on a conversation and pay attention to the game at the same time.
Y'all can barely walk and breathe at the same time, so.
Well, we're sitting, so we can actually, pay attention. And I don't know the calls. I don't know the details of games, but
You're just there for the fun of it.
I watch it.
There you go.
You know, I'm understanding things that you shouldn't swing at a ball that you possibly can miss, which happened a lot. And I'm like, I can't even hit the stupid ball, but I wouldn't be swinging at it.
I know not to do that.
I would be the one having to step into it to get onto a base.
So for those not in our area that is wondering what is the Amarillo Sod Poodles, they are the minor league AA team for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Amarillo is just 40-ish miles away from us, and it's a good time over there at Hodgetown. That's the name of the stadium.
Heck yeah.
Well, are you ready to get into this?
Yes.
All right. Not doing a more you know this week.
What?
Trying something different.
Okay.
So this week we're going to be doing a dad joke.
Oh. Yay!
Why did the Invisible Man turn down the job he was offered?
Because they couldn't see him do the job?
He couldn't see himself working there.
Oh my gosh, okay.
You're as close.
Alright.
You ready to get started?
Yes, I've been anxiously waiting all week for this. Class is ready.
How was that for a bell ringing?
You've been doing really good.
I practiced while we were off in May.
Mm.
All right, so this week, taking a little different turn in the true crime world, we're going to be talking about a missing person.
Okay.
So, Brianna Alexandra Maitland was born on October 8th, 1986, and she was last seen March 19th, 2004.
Okay.
So
Makes her how old?
17.
17. You probably said that, huh?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
She was the typical 17-year-old. She got along great with her parents, even though she did not live at home. And we'll get to that in just a little bit.
Okay.
Her parents are Bruce and Kelly Maitland, and she has an older brother named Waylon, Waylon, Waylon.
Okay.
They lived and were raised on a family farm near East Franklin, Vermont.
Vermont.
Yes, ma'am. Right there, just miles away from the Canadian border.
Holy cow. Maybe she went to Canada.
We'll see.
Okay.
From an early age, Brianna practiced jujitsu extensively and was prolific at it.
So she was an expert. Like
Yeah.
she could karate chop you before you could even know it.
She could probably break a board in half.
I'm thinking she could protect herself.
And that will come into play later.
Fairly well.
In high school, she transferred. So she went her freshman year to, and I'm going to butcher the name of it, and I'm pretty sure this is why she left this school. Missisquoi High School, Missisquoi,
Missisquoi? Okay.
High School. But she did transfer from there after her freshman year, and sophomore and junior year, she went to Edinburgh Falls High School because that's where most of her friends went to school. So
okay. So why did she transfer? Just because of that?
Because of her friends.
Okay.
Yes, on March 19th, the day she went missing, earlier that day, Brianna and her mom Kelly had gone out for breakfast and was doing some shopping. Um, Kelly said that it was just a normal day, everything was fine. But then all of a sudden, Brianna saw somebody or saw something and she became real anxious and agitated. Some people say that Brianna had started smoking and her mom didn't approve of that. And so that's why she was nervous. She was needing a cigarette. But also, just days before, she had gotten to a fight at a party with a girl that I guess did not care about the jujitsu training because she beat Brianna up pretty bad because Brianna was talking to this girl's boyfriend at the party.
Oh.
Yeah, she had black eyes. She had bruises. She got tore up.
So she didn't
From
fight.
from the way it sounded, she got jumped from behind, kind of taken by surprise.
Okay. Okay.
So they don't know. Maybe she saw her and was like, "Oh crap, she's gonna jump me again." Something happened where she became real agitated and anxious and said, "Come on, mom, I've got to go to work. Let's just go. Let's just go."
Okay.
So they're not sure. Um, so I said she wasn't living with her parents, and it was nothing. I mean, she got along great with her mom and dad, but she had always been independent, and um, they were raised on that farm not far from Canada. It was very isolated. Her parents basically lived off the grid, um, generated their own electricity, all that stuff.
So it's not like she had a lot of people right there to.
And that's what she wanted, was to be around her friends. And so her mom and dad wasn't happy, but they gave her permission. And so she moved to nearby Shelburne, Vermont, and lived with her best friend, Jillian, and her dad. Mom and dad was divorced. Jillian lived with dad, and Brianna moves in with her.
Huh.
This is a photo of Brianna.
Okay.
What was that look about? Not what you expected?
Um. Just a weird feeling.
Okay. About the dad?
No.
Okay. So, like I said, she was always independent. Um, she told her mom and dad, I'm ready to start college, get on with my life. They're like, hey, you're only 17. You're just a junior. She said, I want to drop out.
Well,
and
then how are you going to go to college?
I want to drop out. I want to get my GED and go on from there. And so with her parents' blessing, in December of 2003, she dropped out of high school and started working towards her GED. That morning, March 19th, when her and her mom had gone out for breakfast, she had actually received in the mail uh, notice that she had passed all the classes and that she did earn her GED. So it was more of a celebratory.
Yeah.
She hadn't really decided yet where she was going to go to college. She had narrowed it down to either New York City or to Boston.
To do what?
Fashion design.
Okay.
Was what she was leaning towards.
Okay.
Also, being Miss Independent, she worked 2 different jobs. The Black Lantern Inn, which was basically, it was described basically as a bar, but it was a calm. I really picture like Fire Creek here in Pampa.
Okay.
It was a calm place. It was also a diner. She worked there as a dishwasher.
Okay.
And then in the next town over, which, being the worst podcaster in podcasting, I didn't write the name of the town down. But she worked at a diner in that town called KJ's Diner. And there she worked as a waitress.
Okay.
So on March, the day that she disappeared, she had a shift at the Black Lantern.
Okay. That evening?
That evening. She left a note. When she left to go to work, she left a note for Jillian saying, hey, working tonight. I'll get off sometime between 10:30 and midnight. I'll see you then. Well, being a dishwasher, she couldn't leave until everything was all good. So she wasn't sure what time she'd leave, but she knew it'd be before midnight.
Okay. And this was how far away from that house?
10 miles.
Okay.
So she leaves, she goes to work. Everything goes great at the shift. Like I said, it was a nice, cozy atmosphere. Seemed like a place that people just go and hang out. Was not a rowdy crowd at all. According to her co-workers, it was a great night, and that a lot of times after work, the co-workers would hang out. Like after they get everything cleaned up, they'd dirty it again and cook food and hang out.
Yeah.
And so they asked Brianna to stay.
Okay.
And she said, well, I've got the early shift at KJ's Diner in the morning, so I'm going to go on home and get some rest.
Responsible.
She was like, okay, yeah, cool, no problem. And so at 11:20, Brianna clocked out and walked out to her car.
Okay, it's a 10-minute drive.
That was the last time she was ever seen.
Okay, so somebody was definitely outside waiting for her. Huh.
Yeah. So the next day, early afternoon of March 20th, Vermont State Police was dispatched to an abandoned house that was known as the Old Dutchburn Home. So I'm assuming the family named Dutchburn used to live there. That was on Route 118 in Richford, just outside of Richford, Vermont.
Isn't that not the direction she needed to go to get home, right?
We'll see.
Okay.
The dispatcher advised the police that there was an abandoned vehicle that was backed into the side of the house.
Okay.
Here's a picture of it.
Like they literally, oh yeah, they backed into it, all right. Okay.
Troopers arrive, and in the front seat they find 2 paychecks with Brianna's name on them.
Okay.
They find some loose change and a pack of unsmoked cigarettes laying on the ground. But not having a missing person report or know anything about Brianna, they weren't sure that it was a crime scene.
Oh my gosh.
And in this area, it is typical for drunk drivers to just pull over, abandon their vehicle, go sleep for a few hours, and then they'll either come back and get their vehicle, or if it's been towed, they'll find out where it's at. So they just assumed that this is what had happened.
Okay, but it ran into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not pulled over. It's like it was backed into that place.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't think nothing of it?
They didn't think nothing of it.
Because it's a typical drunk person did it. So let's just not worry about it. They'll come back and get it.
I'm just assuming that it's a New England thing. I don't know.
Who are these policemen? They should be reprimanded or something.
So they did have it towed to a local garage in Richford.
Because I'm thinking, well, you got plates. You can call. You know who it was. Let's be looking for them.
Right.
Let's be tracking them down. Like, what the crap happened to your car?
Exactly. So that note that Brianna left for Jillian, saying that she'd be back between 10:30 and midnight, it was not seen until Monday afternoon, because with Brianna not being in school anymore, she didn't realize there was no school on Monday. And so Jillian and her dad took a little trip up to Canada and didn't get home till about 3 or 4 o'clock Monday afternoon.
Okay.
So that's when she saw the note, and she was like, well, she must not have wanted to stay here at the house by herself, so she's either at some of their friend's house or her mom and dad's house. They haven't called and asked anything about her. So Tuesday.
And this was Saturday night?
This was Friday night, Saturday morning.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
I'd be calling.
Yeah, exactly. And Kelly said, it wasn't uncommon to go days without hearing from her. But one thing that Brianna never missed was her lunches with mom. They met at least once a week, either for breakfast or for lunch. And so on Tuesday, they had a lunch date planned.
Okay.
Brianna never showed up.
Woo.
So Kelly starts calling friends, starts calling her employers. And they said, no, we haven't heard from Brianna. The employers were like, we just figured she found another job. Apparently that's another common thing up in New England. People just find another job and don't tell their old job they quit. I don't know. But, so yeah, she didn't show up.
At either job.
At either job. She didn't show up for lunch Tuesday with mom.
And they didn't even think nothing of it.
Yeah.
What kind of...
Jillian thought that she was with her parents or with another friend.
Okay.
So Kelly and Bruce immediately go to their local police department and make a report of a missing person. And on Thursday, they drive to St. Albans, Vermont.
Okay.
So this is almost a week after after she was last seen. They drive to St. Albans, Vermont, and they give a photo of Brianna to the state police.
Okay. It's because the locals aren't doing nothing?
Well, this was suggested by the local police. Hey, let's get the state police involved.
Did they not freaking tell them about the car?
The local police didn't know about the car. State police handled that.
Oh, okay. I thought the locals took charge of the car.
No, state troopers.
That's why I was confused. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, state troopers handled the car on Saturday.
That's why I was upset with the local cops.
Right.
Okay. So they go and they're making this missing persons report with the state.
With the state.
Okay.
Yeah, now they're with the state. They give them Brianna's picture. The trooper that is talking with them, says, "Now, what's your daughter's name?" And they say, "Brianna Maitland." And he's like, "I've heard that name." And so mom and dad get a little bit excited.
Well, yeah, maybe she's just in jail.
Yeah, maybe something happened. She's just in jail. We don't know. And then the trooper talks to another trooper who was actually one of the ones that had gone out on this call.
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Where have I heard in the last week the name Brianna Maitland?" And he said, "Oh, she was those paychecks in the car that ran into that house." And so Kelly was like, "Car, house, what?" So they show the picture to Kelly and Bruce. And Kelly does the most mom thing. As soon as she sees the picture of the car backed in, she throws up right there in the police lobby. She said it was like my stomach just immediately turned on its side.
Because something bad happened. She knew
She
who
knew.
did.
And Bruce confirmed that is our daughter's car.
Oh, no.
Uh, Kelly also made the statement that there had to have been somebody else driving or somebody parked it like that, because even though that was an older car and it wasn't the greatest car, Brianna loved that car and took extreme care of it. And she would never do that.
She wouldn't do that on purpose.
Exactly.
Unless she was trying to
Make it get away or, right.
Did they check the building?
They did. There was nothing inside. Yeah, they
After a missing persons report was done?
after the missing person report was done.
But if she would have been in there, they could have tell. Okay, they could have told.
So we're gonna back up to Friday night / Saturday morning.
Okay.
A man driving home from a different bar, not the Black Lantern Inn where Brianna worked, around 12:30, said that the car was sitting on the side of the road with the headlights on, but nobody was in it, and it wasn't running.
Where?
In front of the house, but on the side of the road, not backed into the house.
Oh, okay.
And then another man at 4 o'clock in the morning, or around 4 o'clock in the morning, was on his way to work, and he saw it. And he said the only way I saw it, because at that time it was backed into the house. He said the only way I saw it was the turn signal was on, and I saw the signal flashing.
So whoever was probably pulled up this way, and then they put it in reverse.
Backed it in.
Maybe they slammed on the gas and it was a pure accident, and then they freaked out and left.
Very well could have.
Seems like a teenage thing to do right there.
Or somebody setting up a accident scene to throw them off.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's a very good point, though.
The 4 o'clock or 4:30 dude.
Yes, ma'am. Vermont State Police took over the investigation from the local police department, but at first they treated it more as Brianna is a runaway instead of a criminal case.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
So the parents went to the state police, filed a missing persons report. They figured out this is the car. So when did the local police start investigating?
Well, the day before, remember I said on Wednesday they went and filed a missing person report with their local police department.
Okay, thank you for that reminder.
Then the next day, on Thursday, they took the picture to state police.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
You're welcome. Yeah, they did not believe foul play. They treated it like she was a runaway. They did search the wooded area back behind. They didn't find anything that they would think was related to this case.
No, because she's a runaway. They wasn't looking for anything else. They wasn't looking for footprints. They wasn't looking for clothes. They wasn't looking for nothing except, ain't nothing back this way. There could have been evidence.
There could have been. They did process the car for fingerprints. Things such as DNA was very brand new at the time, but they did take some samples. They never said what they were, but they did take some DNA samples.
Okay.
Well,
she had long hair. I bet there were some hair pieces in there and
right,
like all over the steering wheel, radio.
They returned the car to Mom and Dad, and Dad told them she didn't run away. They're like, well, how can you?
Yeah, how do you know?
He said, because in her car is still her glasses, her contact case, and Brianna suffered from migraines, and her migraine medication was in the car. He said she never would have left that.
No. Yeah.
So at that point, that's when the state police contacted the FBI and asked them to help them in this case. So state police is at least on top of it.
Yeah, they're trying. They're trying.
They're doing what they can. FBI immediately felt foul play was involved, and remember saying how Brianna was proficient in jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
She was the black belt.
Yes, this is why I'm like, she's top of her game. She didn't quit it.
So that they immediately started looking for at least 2 individuals that could have done this.
Because she could have beat somebody up enough that she could have ran.
Exactly. Now, just 1 month before Brianna went missing, there was another missing case reported. Maura Murray, who we will be covering at some point in time here. That one's pretty weird. I mean, not weird, but it's like interesting.
Okay.
She was a college student from Massachusetts and went missing in northwest New Hampshire. She was going to college in New Hampshire. She lived in Massachusetts. And it's only 90 miles from where Brianna went missing.
So it's still in that area of somebody. What do they call it? Not the kill zone, but whatever.
Right. They're the
hunting grounds or whatever.
Ground. But law enforcement quickly deemed that it was unrelated because the circumstances behind the two were totally different.
Okay.
Remember that when we cover Maura.
Okay.
So just a few weeks after Brianna went missing, they received an anonymous tip at the Vermont State Police headquarters.
Okay.
This tip said that Brianna was being held against her will at a house located in Berkshire, Vermont, that was only 10 miles from where the car was found.
Freaking people.
Listed as renters on the house was Ramon Ryans and Nathaniel Jackson.
Okay.
Police knew these 2 names.
They were not upstanding individuals in the community.
They were not like, top providers on Crime Stoppers. They were from New York and they were known drug dealers.
Oh, okay.
Kelly and Bruce said that Brianna smoked, but she didn't do drugs. She would not know them. However,
but the parents didn't even know that she smoked.
No, they did. Remember, Mom wasn't happy with it. That's why the friends were like, "Oh, maybe she was just needing a cigarette." And
I took it to mean that the mom and dad didn't know that she smoked, so she was hiding it from them.
No, yeah, she wouldn't do it around them because Mom didn't approve of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, they friends was like, "No, she's been experimenting with marijuana and crack cocaine."
Like it was proven.
Yeah. Yeah. So on March 15th, 2004, good old tax day.
She wants to be a designer?
Right.
Okay.
Well, who hadn't tried it?
Me? Neither one. I mean,
Yeah,
but we didn't, we grew up in the 80s.
we did.
We were little, though. Our butts would have gotten beaten, though. Ain't no way you moving out at 17. I don't care if you are independent. Don't care.
I had to scream, cry, throw a fit, and beg just to move out when I was 23.
Holy cow. No wonder it's taking forever to cut that
Hey,
cord.
shush. That woman's a thing. March 15th, 2004, the house that Ryans and Jackson was renting um, was searched, was raided by the state Vermont police. Okay. Vermont State Police.
There you go.
Thank you. Inside, they located paraphernalia.
Well, the drug dealers.
They located cocaine.
Drug dealers.
They located marijuana.
Uh-huh.
But they did not locate Brianna. They did locate a list. So it was like a customer list.
Yeah.
With Brianna's name on it. So they did have proof that she had bought.
She did know them.
Yeah. Jackson wasn't at the house at the time. So Ryans was arrested. Good old Ramon, Ramon, R-A-M-O-N, Ramon, was arrested for the drug charges. Police would also learn, not only through her friends and the list, but that Brianna and Ramon were acquainted with one another.
Okay.
But they quickly ruled out both Ryans and Jackson as suspects.
Okay.
They came up with proof that at the time of her disappearance, they were back in New York. Over the next several months, the Maitland family would receive several phone calls saying that either Brianna was tied to a tree in the wooded area or that she had been killed over drugs and thrown in the bottom of a lake. But all this information was unfounded.
I'd have to change my number.
I would absolutely. But then I'd be worried Brianna would try to call. Yeah.
Like, all right, you're the phone person. You're gonna take all the messages.
Mm-hmm.
You're the answering service.
In 2006, 2 years after she went missing, Vermont State Police received security video footage from a Caesars casino in New Jersey.
Okay.
There was a woman who matched Brianna's description perfectly, sitting at a poker table.
Okay.
Unfortunately, to this day, that woman has not been identified.
They can't find her. Who's to say it's not?
That's true. I mean, it could be her. I mean, that gives mom and dad some hope that, hey, she's still alive. In 2012, and I brought this theory up to you earlier today, law enforcement looked into the possibility that serial killer Israel Keys could have been involved.
Why'd they pick him?
Good question. Israel lived in Alaska. Mm-hmm. However, he had committed rapes and murders in the states of Oregon, Washington, New York, and Vermont.
Oh, so he was familiar with that area.
He was familiar with that area. He would travel down to the continental 48 states, and they still could be buried somewhere, but he would go and he would plot out a possible target, and he would go somewhere outside of the city, pick some land, and dig a hole and bury a kill kit that would always included duct tape, rope, gun, knife, and
Mask?
a mask.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so, I mean, they could be several buried. I mean, we won't never know because later in 2012, Keyes committed suicide while in prison. So, but there could be some buried just outside of town here.
Very well could be.
So they looked into Israel Keyes, but discovered that at the time she went missing, he was back in Alaska. So
they didn't check anybody else out?
I didn't read it that they did.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They didn't shake the tree to see what came falling out and go from there?
Exactly. Hey, Lucy lady.
Okie dokie.
In March of 2016, 12 years after Brianna went missing, the Vermont State Police revealed that they had recovered DNA from Brianna's car. Results of the test have not been made public.
Okay. From 2016.
Yes, ma'am. Now, in the same year, 2016, in July, the Dutchburn house that was backed into was destroyed by fire.
Okay.
So any hopes of any evidence that they may have gone and looked at, may have overlooked when they were searching inside, is gone now.
Well, surely the police officers that were there looking at everything would be able to tell if somebody had gotten into the house through where they backed into it.
You would hope.
You'd hope. Or they didn't bury something underneath the crawl space in one of them houses, but whatever.
Exactly.
No fault, no blame.
I'm sorry.
Putting on anybody.
No. March of 2022, 18 years now since Brianna was last seen. State police confirmed that there was a DNA match for the DNA that they had tested.
Okay.
Said that it is one of 11 persons of interest from early on in the investigation.
Okay.
But to this day, the identity has not been released of said person, and they have said that he is being very cooperative. So that basically tells me that it was maybe a friend of Brianna's, that somehow his DNA was in her car from previously riding in it with her.
Or driving her home or doing, whatever.
Yeah. Or maybe it was one of her coworkers and some of her long hair had got on, or some of his hair maybe got on her. I don't know. It's all speculation.
It could be any type of DNA in the car.
Mm-hmm. Brianna has been profiled on Dateline NBC, on the ID channel's show Disappeared, that was came out in December of 2011, and also on an episode of 2020, and now Hard Lessons True Crime Podcast. In 2023, a book, The Hunt for Brianna Maitland, was published. It was written by Gregory Overacker. I love some of these folks' names. Overacker, who is a private investigator who has been working on this case, hired by Bruce and Kelly Maitland since 2008. Nope, sorry, since 2006. So Bruce, Brianna's dad, knowing firsthand how expensive it is to hire private investigators and have all this going, looking for your missing child, he started a non-for-profit organization called Private Investigators for the Missing. They help families like them at no charge. They pay the bill for the private investigator.
Well, they probably have private investigators on roll.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still going today?
It is.
Good. Are they still around?
The Maitlands, yeah, they are. They are. And earlier this year, in January of 2025, Bruce was saying we still hold out hope. You know, we know it's been 20 years now, but we still hold out hope that our Brianna is going to walk through the door one day. And until we don't have a breath left in our bodies, we will still hold out hope.
That's what you do.
The FBI has upped their reward for any information leading to finding Brianna to $40,000. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Brianna, you're asked to call the Vermont State Police Department at 802-722-4600 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-843-5678. And that doesn't go just for Brianna. On the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, you got any information, call them and give it to them on anybody that's missing.
Definitely.
And who knows, Brianna, I mean, I know Vermont's way up here and Texas is way down here, but she could have made her way down here.
Yep.
So if you know something, say something. We say it all the time.
Even if it totally seems insignificant, if you remember something. Was there an altercation outside when she got off work? Did anybody see anything that made her uncomfortable? Somebody that made her uncomfortable? Somebody saw something.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or a complete grab and go. Like, whatever it is, have they thought about having the car redone for DNA? Have they thought about re-releasing that video from the casino?
I didn't see anything that said that they had thought about it. I don't know. I got to thinking, okay, so it's Vermont. I know it's March, but there's still probably snow on the ground. Was there any footprints? Was there, I mean, because they said that the change and the open pack of unsmoked cigarettes was on the ground. So that tells me there was a bit of a struggle if that stuff was knocked out of the car.
That is just weird.
Unless it was just thrown out to make it look like there was a struggle. Maybe Brianna was just like, you know what, I want to start over and staged this whole thing herself. I mean, that is also a possibility.
Maybe it's like, I need to get away from here. I need to get clean. If I want to make a name for myself, I can't be living like this. My parents don't even know who I am. There's all kinds of avenues you could go down.
There is. And right now
there's no evidence of anything.
Right now it's all speculation, and I need to quit that. Speculating. So that is the case of Brianna Maitland. My bibliography for this week, tiny bit of information from wikipedia.org. The article is Disappearance of Brianna Maitland. FBI.gov. Just search the name Brianna Maitland. Darkdowneast.com. The Disappearance of Brianna Maitland. MyChamplainValley.com, which I couldn't tell if that was a newspaper or a news TV station. But Mystery in the Mountains. Where is Brianna Maitland? And MyNBC5.com. That one's pretty easy. That's a TV station. FBI offers $40,000 reward in case of missing woman, Brianna Maitland. And that is Brianna Maitland.
That is just weird. Like, nobody saw her get in her car and leave? Like, literally nobody?
Yeah, she walking out of the Black Lantern Inn was the last time anybody laid eyes on her.
Very, very weird.
Yes, ma'am.
I just can't believe absolutely nobody knows anything. Don't know, ain't saying. $40,000, man.
You can do a lot with that.
Yep.
And the most important thing you can do is give peace to a family.
No doubt. I mean, that's the most important thing, not some stupid lies to get people's hopes up. That's cruel.
It is.
And it will come back on you.
All right, Teach, what is my grade for this week?
I'd give you an A.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty good. It's interesting.
It is.
Mind-boggling. And if she has that good of a relationship with her parents, why would she just leave?
Yeah. See, as soon as I said that, well, I was like, no.
Does she have an older brother or sister?
She had one older brother, Waylon.
That's right. That's right. I couldn't remember if he was older or not. Huh.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, and I only read it on one of the articles, but there was one deal that really mentioned him. And in it, it was when um, mom and dad, they take the photo of Brianna to the state police, and they show them the photo of the car. And so after that, they take them to the garage that it was towed to, but they're not sure where the keys are. And so dad is like, she could be in the trunk. And dad was like, I can't pop it open. And so Waylon did. And of course, she wasn't in there, but Waylon.
So he's right alongside them.
He was there with mom and dad the whole time.
So what does he do? Is he helping now still? Do you know?
He is. He volunteers in dad's organization, the private investigators for family, and
Oh, so he's heavily involved, still wanting to know.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh. I know that I don't talk to my brothers very often, but I know that they would comb heaven and earth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you would be the first one they'd come to.
Mm-hmm. So classmates, just know if something happens to Teach, I didn't do it. I really do kind of like her.
I'm just saying, like, better puck her up.
That's right. So for next week's episode, it's going to take kind of a different turn.
Okay.
It's not even a little bit true crime. It's more of the paranormal.
Okay.
So,
that's all right.
Kind of take a little break from the heaviness of missing person for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Do something a little bit unexplained, like how'd that happen?
Yeah. Ooh, cool. Have my doubts of like, that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That it can't even be real. Like, they crazy.
They crazy. All right, Teach. Well, I think it's time for us to get out of here.
Yes.
And classmates, thank y'all. We will see you next week, and thank you for your support. Be sure to, if you like us, rate us, review us, give a little review on us. If you don't like us, just keep it to yourself. No, I'm kidding. How are we going to get better if we don't know what we're doing that you don't like?
Exactly.
Or what we're doing.
Maybe no news is good news.
This
Maybe
is what
that's
I'm thinking.
what it is.
That's what I'm thinking.
We just need more people to listen to us of our ramblings. You know what? We need to collaborate on one of them. On one of your little things.
One of my little things.
One of your
Stories?
Podcast. We need to
Collaborate with who?
collaborate.
The Nosy Nancy's. The
Collaborate with us, between us, do one together where I have information, you have information, and we meet in the middle. You know what I mean? You do some research, I do some research, and we smash it together.
Coming up in August is our 2-year anniversary. Maybe we'll do that for then.
Okay, well, I need to work on it now because August gets here, I'm going to be
busy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yep. Thank you, classmate. And
thank you for going on the rabbit chase with this.
We will see you next week. See if I can do this good twice in a row.
Class is dismissed.